Good morning, everyone. Kendall Askins from Stimulating Minds. Askins Stimulates over on Instagram. Joining you another morning with another gem to drop. And today I want to talk to you guys about they don't need to understand, right? And this is very, very personal to me. A lot of what I share with you guys is personal because it is around my journey and things I've been learning, but not only about things I've been learning, but things that I feel like if somebody would have just shared or planted that seed or given that to me, that maybe I wouldn't have had to go through some of the things that I went through the hard way. So one of the things that I realized about myself is I'm misunderstood many times, right? And whether that was my delivery or whether it was, what I said because I was blunt, maybe harsh sometimes with things. I was finding myself misunderstood, and I was finding myself feeling like people had a perception of me that was not accurate, right? And I also felt like that they were looking at me in this negative fashion. And so being that I felt that I was a good person, I always found myself like over explaining or giving my thoughts. Like when I made a decision and I was talking with somebody about it, whether it was somebody that I wanted to share with or somebody that I feel like questioned the decision that I made or disagreed with the decision that I made, I often found myself explaining my thoughts to them and my process out loud, right? And then when they would combat it or say they didn't agree or try to convince me to do something else, I would continue to try to explain and say that. And I'm at this point now in my life where I'm like, wait a minute. They don't need to understand, right? They don't need to understand. This is my life, not their life. So I want to say that to you guys, like, you have to make decisions off of what brings you joy. What brings you joy? What is bringing you fulfillment? And it does not matter who understands and who doesn't, right? Now, if you're communicating with somebody, there was a disagreement, maybe, you feel some type of way and you want to take a moment and, they're open to it and you want to explain how you're feeling about something, different scenario, right? And I think that that's very healthy. But there comes a point in time where you have to stop and say, wait a minute. Is my energy worth this situation? Me bringing it up to this person, is it worth it? How much am I going to explain myself? And make your decisions and stand by it. I noticed with me, it was often that I was either second guessing or I wanted approval. And that was what was creating the atmosphere for me to over explain myself. And listen, I am done with it. I am actually done with it. And I feel very much like, hey, if somebody is misunderstanding me, that means that they wanted to misunderstand me, right? If somebody questions, if I have a question about something or I'm interpreting something a certain way, I'm going to ask that person like, hey, is this what you meant by this? Because this is how this came off. I'm going to be upfront and I'm going to say that because I always want to assume good intent. If somebody doesn't come to me and ask me or seek clarification or just want to know, hey, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Is this what you're trying to express? I don't have time for it, right? And I want to encourage you to be very intentional about what you're putting your energy into. They don't need to understand. If they're set on misunderstanding or they want to make assumptions or they want to have their own judgments, let them, because guess what? It doesn't impact your life. And if people choose to want to show up differently in your life because you chose not to explain something to them, then let them. Right? It's one less headache for you. So I just want to say, like, they don't need to understand. You get to decide your path in your life. You get to decide the things that you want to do, and you owe nobody an explanation. If you're learning how to collaborate, if you're learning how to work with somebody, it is still a very different experience than having to explain your thoughts and your decisions, right? That is very different. So, I think we'll do some more on this, on They Don't Need to Understand. And we'll talk about the difference between collaboration versus over explaining. Even when it comes to things like co-parenting, there is a difference, right? Between co-parenting and being focused on something versus, having to explain your every decision and every choice. So let's hear about things where you have found yourself over explaining, or maybe you realizing listening to this video, oh shoot, I do over explain myself, or I do sit in trying to make people understand me a certain way. How are you going to begin letting go of that, right? Let's hear about it in the chat. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Like, subscribe, share out this video, and I will see you back here next week for more fun. Bye.